Hey Eiyo!
Welcome to the Hey Eiyo podcast, where I yap about whatever I want with whoever I want. Enjoy!
Hey everyone. So for today's guest, I invited someone that I really look up to. I'm a big fan of his. We're really honored to have him on the show. He's always on the news. He's always on ANC, One News. He has a regular show on Teleradio. And every time I'm on YouTube, I'm always looking for thumbnails with his face on it because that's how big of a fan I am. I always want to listen to his commentaries. He really gives insights on the ins and outs of politics in the Philippines. And I think one reason why he does that, or he's able to do that, is because he's very experienced. He's worked on a number of campaigns in the past, in several political contests. And because of a lot of the experience he's gotten, he was able to acquire a wealth of knowledge and the ability to make a lot of insights on Philippine politics. And I'm just really looking forward to this conversation. He's also the president of Agents International. Uh, I'm thrilled to have Sir Alan Herman on my show. Hi, Tito. Kumusta? How are you doing?
Well, it was a tiring and exciting elections with many twists and turns. You know naman what I do, Iyo. During election season, that's my busy period. But thankfully, I'm still in the winning column.
Winning column, yes, of course.
Yeah, some very, very good surprises. A lot of my my client candidates won in the LGUs as well. So, um, taking the plane for a nice landing, and hopefully, I've got a nice
I love
cocktail and
it.
a beer and onion rings waiting for me.
Basta Tito, during the show, you're allowed to drink anything. Let me just make that clear. If you want, go ahead.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Pero,
And what are we discussing today? I'm curious. Boy, you
well,
were very active during the campaign as well.
oh yes, Tito, I was active for the Bam Aquino campaign, and we were able to, very similar to your situation, like it was a really good ending, and I think it
Yeah,
was,
yeah. Hey, congratulations. You fought the good fight. Sometimes you charge into windmills, and sometimes you kill them, di ba?
oo.
Such are the flavors of life, especially in Philippine politics. So good job, mga youth
Amen,
voters.
Tito. Thank you. And I think 2025 was our year.
Definitely, yung ka-age ninyo, no, your generation, hopefully it's not an age thing kasi a lot of people are bandying about this whole, it's a time of the Gen Zs, it's a time of the youth. I'd like to think, hopefully, I'm being an idealist. I'd like to think that, idealism, holding your public servants to a higher standard, hopefully that crosses age. Hopefully that crosses
Oo.
age bands. If the youth is going to lead us, dapat naman dahil the future is yours. You're going to live in it longer than we will. Pero sana the wave, the spark. Yan yung tawag nila
Mhm.
dyan, alab, 'di ba? Spark,
Oo. Yep.
pinggian. That's all we
Mhm.
need. Just that spark, and hopefully it will um
Mhm. Yeah.
burn across age segments. Sana.
Oh, I really hope so too. And I think that was just one of the many, I guess, takeaways from the election. And I'm sure there are a
Storylines.
lot of.
Storylines. Daming storylines.
Oh, I know there. I'm sure, and we have a lot to cover. So that's just one, the youth vote. There's so many other things I want to discuss later. I want to get to the overall the key takeaways from this election from the perspective of a strategist. I want to get
Right.
to the broader landscape and all these other things. I even want to ask you questions about your career. I mean, how you started and all that, your history, the company. But before we get to anything, I always ask this, and I asked Kiko, my first guest, Kiko
Right.
D, this question. What did election night look like for you? Did you come in with any expectations? What were you doing? Were you driving? Were you on the toilet? Go, make cuento.
Well, election night for me, as it has been in the past elections, is a sleepless, frantic night. I'm surrounded by I am surrounded by laptops. We're looking at data, we're looking at trending, and we're waiting for calls.
Okay.
That's what election night looked like. Well, we're talking about the day before elections pala. Yan yung
Mm.
pinaka-hectic sa
Yes.
akin, the day before elections. Because we're waiting
Okay.
for last minute movements of our kalabans. Namimili ba sila ng boto? Are they sending goons to shut down our volunteers? Are they puncturing tires? By the way, I'm not trying to be glib. These things happen.
Yeah.
Um, are they going around? Baka magulat yung mga listeners mo. Your listeners have pure souls and innocent ears. But what we're looking out our stuff for are stuff like that. Are they going
Oo.
around putting indelible ink on people's voters para hindi makaboto?
Oo.
Ganyan yan. Sa probinsya, takutan yan. O, pag alam mong leader ka ng kabila, halika dito. They're going to send some goons and put indelible ink in the voters' fingers para hindi na makaboto. So we're looking out for stuff like that the night before. So that's a sleepless night for me. Election night, election day itself. Wow, that was actually a great story for me because I'm going to sound very, very immodest right now, terrible. Baka isipin ng mga Hey Iyo fanatics and listeners na ang yabang naman itong guest mo. But what
May
happened
four fanatics. My mom, my dad, my sister, and my girlfriend.
There you go. Shout out to the four avid listeners of Hey Iyo. So what happened is I went on media rounds during election day. Now I was asked to guest on various shows.
Yes.
As onboard panelist, I was called to TV5, One News, then Teleradyo. Ito yung where did you vote, Iyo?
I voted in UANP in
So
Pasig.
Pasig. O ito.
Yes.
Kasi ako, we still vote in Pasig. So shout out
Okay.
Mayor Vic. So what happened there is I went with my wife, your Tita Doris, and
Yes.
my son Rog, who is a first-time voter, and we
Ooh,
lined up in
finally, nice.
first-time voter. So we lined up in Capitolio High School.
Okay. Okay.
So ang haba ng pila, super haba. So I
Ilang
gave it
oras,
hour
Tito?
and a half in the line. But hour and a half, di pa rin kami gumagalaw. I had to leave now for my guesting. So I left Rog and your Tita Doris on the line. And then
Okay.
I went on my election kabuhayan tour, as it were. And then after my TV guesting, inabutan ko pa. I rushed. So from
Oo.
the studio, I went straight back to Capitolio High School. And guess what? It took me literally less than 3 minutes to vote when I came back.
Wow.
About
What
ako.
time was this?
I came back siguro mga before 6.
So pa-closing na the polls.
Pa-closing na. So it was walk
Wow.
in, walk out.
Grabe. Ayos ah.
Kasi you know what they say, pag hindi kayo bumoto, wala kayong karapatan magreklamo.
Tama, tama,
Exercise your
tama.
right to vote. If you don't vote, di ba, you can be shouting at the clouds, pontificating,
Yep.
criticizing your leaders, criticizing the way the government is running things. But at the end of the day, if you don't vote, if you don't participate, baliwala lahat ng mga pontificating mo. So again, I encourage the four avid listeners of the podcast. Yun yung words of wisdom ko. Bumoto tayo. That's a sacred right more than a democratic one.
Yes, and respect to you, Tito, for doing that despite having so many shows. I expected all of this to be online lang, pero you had to go to the
Guesting
studios talaga.
guesting talaga.
Wow.
Oh. Everybody wants a piece of the Allen pie. Naks,
Like
they
myself.
comic relief eh. Alam mo, sometimes you have to provide a comic relief eh. Even the best blockbusters have a comic relief. So ako yung comic.
Oo. And
Yun
in
yun.
fairness, I think you speak very well, Tito. As in, my mom brought up recently that you use a lot of metaphors when you speak, when you give interviews, and it's really effective. As in, sa surprise siya when she hears the words.
Your mom would say that because number one, your mom loves me and I love your mom right back. So ano kami, mutual admiration society kami
Mutual ad-
ni Kat.
Yes, tama, tama. Mutual admiration. So, okay, I wanna get to I guess, your reaction to the results. So, election night, what happened then for you? Like, what were you doing?
I was back in the what we call the war room, which is a giant screen. We monitor the
Okay.
results together with the team, and
Okay.
we see. And when parang 40% of the votes were coming in particular, we were very surprised about two results.
Mm.
Senator Bam Aquino and Senator-elect Bam Aquino and Senator-elect Kiko Pangilinan.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
yun yung binabantayan ng team ko. And this is a first, an exclusive for Hey Iyo. Honestly ako, binabantayan ko yung mga artista. Yun yung
Mm.
binabantayan ko.
Okay.
I was seeing let's see if former Senator, well, still Senator, Bong Revilla
Bong
is going,
Revilla.
where is he gonna come out on top? I wanted to see if Tulfos would actually make it. Maybe we'll
Ooh.
discuss that
Oo nga.
later. Ang
Okay.
tawag ng uncanny valley when you vote. There's that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Use another metaphor later. But I wanted to see if that uncanny valley would still be sovereign, di ba? Would still be present in this election cycle. Iniisip ko, tingin ko hindi papasok dalawang Tulfo eh. Ganyan ang Pinoy.
Mm. Oh.
Ganyan ang Pinoy. There's that phenomenon of the Filipino.
Yes.
It applies to gender too, unfortunately. Pag dalawang babae yung
Okay.
tumakbo, running
Oo.
mate, isang babae lang boboto nila. They
Mm.
can take
Okay.
one,
Okay.
but they can't take two. I'm absolutely not condoning this and saying this is right. I'm only saying that this is a phenomenon. And it's the same
Mm.
with
Yes.
names, evidently. And we saw this
Yes.
across local elections, even in Batangas, di ba? Natalo si Luis Manzano. But I'm
Oo.
digressing. So ako binabantayan ko, yan, si Bong Revilla. I wanted to see the Tulfos and I was
Uh-huh.
interested in, of all people, Willie Revillame.
Yes. Oo nga. He was...
Kasi
The
early
performance
early
also.
on in the surveys, he was actually leading and I
Oo.
was scared for my life, scared for my children. Kasi iniisip ko, my gosh, pag ito nakapasok pa talagang ano na ang Philippine electorate, sana lang tayo pupulutin, puro na lang ba tayo ganito. But
Oo.
as the numbers were coming in and I could see, teka, mukhang nalalaglag yung mga artista, yung mga entertainer nalalaglag. SBA went from
Oo.
nag-number 3 tapos went up to number 2 and then stayed there. So we were looking,
Oo.
wow, this is really a statistically happy occurrence because honestly, and I was talking to you about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
uh, I actually didn't see Senator Bam moving up higher than number 6.
Uh-huh.
In my mind, I knew he would win.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking baka yan number 6 pinakamataas na siguro yung number 5, but that was for me
Oo.
almost an impossibility. Senator Kiko, I love him dearly. Mabuhay kayo, Senator Kiko. Pag may Kiko, may Sharon, but I was
Oo.
thinking 11, 12, it's gonna be
It was a
it's gonna
tough one for
gonna
Senator
come in
Kiko. Yes.
with the hair of his chinny chin chin. Pero tinan mo naman, pasok sa top 5. So
Grabe. Ang
were high
galing.
five moments. Those were high five moments. We were very happy to see that and hear that. And the fact that the trapos, as you would call them, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them di nakapasok. Medyo nabuhayan kami. A lot of my staff are well, a little older than you lang.
Uh-huh.
So iniisip ko talaga, pag-asa, we might be turning a corner. We're not
Yes.
there yet. Far from it. Far from it. But at least we're turning a corner.
Yes. And the tide is changing, but the work continues.
The
I
work
think.
continues. It never stops. In fact,
Yes.
tinanong sa akin in a symposium one time after the elections, when does given this given this outcome, when does the campaign start? 'Di ba? When do you start
Mm-hmm.
looking towards 2028? My answer was
Oo.
today. Immediately
Tama.
after the elections, kailangan mo i-consolidate yan.
Yep.
Kasama yan dun sa SSSCCC model ko, which is something
Mm.
that Senator Bam Aquino and his campaign team are very familiar with, yung SSSCCC.
Can you
So,
expound on that model just very quickly for our audience?
of course, the SSSCCC model. First, you have to think of your stay votes. So that's the first
Mm.
step. Stay.
Okay.
Sino ba yung base mo? Sino ba yung base mo? Who are
Mm.
your solids? The one who will vote for you because they know you, they know
Mm-hmm.
what you stand for, they have
Yes.
supported you in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and they are aligned with your ideology. Yan ang stay mo.
Okay.
First, that's the first S. You need to first see them consolidate. So
Okay.
your stays, you consolidate. Kailangan i-consolidate mo for example, let's use Senator Bama as an example. I-consolidate muna niya yung so-called liberal pinks dilaw vote. Doon muna siya.
Yes. Okay.
Tighten that. Tighten
Makes
that
sense.
before even
Yep,
going
yep.
anywhere else. You have to tighten that, consolidate that. And then you go to the next S, which is your sway votes. Who still are within the realm of possibility, might consider you, might vote for you, nakakausap pa rin, reasonable pa rin, pag kinausap mo, see a point, will not outright reject you. Your
Yes.
job is the next C, convince.
Convince. Okay.
So you consolidate your stays, you convince your sways.
Makes
So
sense. Makes sense.
from your consolidation, you go to convincing. Na-tighten mo na yung base mo, reach out a little bit to those who you think you can convince. Now,
Okay.
the weakness of past campaigns is, and the politicians' egos often, is that they refuse to acknowledge the last the last S, which is the strays.
The strays. Okay.
These are the people who will not listen to logic, will not vote for you ever, even if you save them from a burning house. Even if you save them from quicksand. Sinave mo na sila, hindi ka pa rin nila iboboto because they don't like you, they don't like what you stand for, they're just opposed to you for some reason, your mere existence offends them. Wag mo nang i-convince yun. Wag nang let me educate you. Wag mo nang i-house to house yung mga yan. Sayang lang oras mo. Yung mga materials na binigay mo sa kanila, pupunitin lang nila yan. So your goal with your S, your last S, which is your strays, you have to control. Control mo na yung strays. Limit them to as small a number as possible. So that's the SSSCCC model. You consolidate your stays, you convince your sways, and then you control your strays.
Hey there, thanks for listening to the Hey Eiyo podcast. If you're enjoying, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your other favorite podcast apps. And follow me, Eiyo Aquino, EIYOAQUINO on TikTok.
So in this election in particular for Sen Bam and Sen Kiko, do you think they were able to do that successfully with I'm particularly interested in the sways
Yes.
with this election.
That's where the magic happens. Iyo, that's where the magic
Oo.
happens. Yan talaga yung pinaka-tricky.
Diba?
That's 75% of your goal, or hindi naman 75, maybe 70% of
Okay.
the fight happens in the sways.
Oo.
So, yes, I did. Yes, I do rather. I do believe they were able to do that. And how did they do it? Simple, very simple. I hope people don't think this is a reductive or a regressive answer, but they were able to do it with pragmatic messaging. Pragmatic messaging. Kasi 'di ba, I don't know if I don't know if people have heard this from me before. I don't know how many. Maybe I have 5 fans, you have 4. Pero in election in election messaging, you can complicate it as much as you want. People write books about it. There's so many experts. There's so many
Yes.
PR specialists. But the truth of the matter is, and I'm probably talking myself out of a job, in the history of political exercises, there's really only 3 ways to convince voters. It's AIM: alert, inspire, and motivate. Yun lang.
Okay.
You alert.
Alert, inspire, motivate.
In fact, this is not even limited to candidates or elections. This is convincing anybody. Tatlo lang. Whether you're running a gym, you have selling a brand of toothpaste, or promoting a podcast. Tatlo lang yan. Alert, inspire, motivate. So ano yung alert? You scare them into action.
Okay.
Pag hindi mo pinanood yung Hey Eiyo, podcast, you will miss out on so much information. Pag tinanong ka, wala kang alam, magmumukha ka ignorante, you're scaring them. But of course, I'm being glib. In elections, it can be, if you don't vote for me, your neighbor will become a drug lab. The Philippines will become a drug state. Criminals will take over the streets. Your wife, your sisters, your neighbors will be raped. If you ride the jeepney, you will be held up. you have to
Oh.
vote for me if you don't want that to happen. Tinatakot mo.
Okay.
Again, this is obviously the formula that former President Rodrigo
Duterte.
Duterte used very effectively. So alert, scare them into
Okay.
voting for you. Uh, yung I inspire something greater than you. An
Mm-hmm.
abstract concept, um, katapatan,
Mm-hmm.
gobyernong tapat,
Tapat.
para buhay
Oo.
lahat. Daang matuwid.
Nang matuwid. Oo.
Yan, daang matuwid. The problem is, inspire messaging, the time has passed. It was
Mm.
effective before, pero ngayon yung voters, they do not connect with inspire messaging anymore.
Do you
That's
think that
the problem.
messaging, do you think that inspire messaging, the effectivity of that, do you think that's related to the current state of the, I guess, the economy? Are people satisfied with the current government? Are they satisfied with how the economy is running? Like, is that
It's
dependent on that,
definitely
or is it just obsolete in
no,
general?
no, it's definitely a factor, but I'll tell you what an even bigger factor is really the pandemic. The pandemic
Mm.
made pragmatists of all of us. Kasi we realized
Okay.
during the pandemic years, teka, everything we, love,
Oo.
unity, parang baliwala to. We need
Oo.
jobs, we need to get out
Yes.
of our homes, we need solutions to this global health crisis. So it became
Oo.
an offshoot of that, and sadly kaya na highlight yung M, which is motivate. Short-term
Okay.
goals. If you vote for me, I'll give you ayuda.
Mm, okay.
If you vote for me, tuloy yung allowance, yung monthly
Okay.
allowance ito, no, na 5,000 pesos per barangay
Mhm.
health worker. May bigas
Okay.
kayo sa akin.
Oo.
Um, what happened is, I think Senator Bam and Senator Kiko, elect, Senator-elect and Senator-elect respectively,
Mhm.
were able to pivot their messaging, and they didn't
Okay.
stick to inspire so much anymore.
Okay.
Pinks and the yellows are known for, and they actually
Mhm.
went on the alert and the motivate part. What was
Okay.
Senator Kiko saying? Boto ninyo ako, kailangan ninyo kasi ang presyo ng pagkain, ang presyo ng bigas, ang presyo ng agricultural products, runaway na. And
Oo. Yeah. Makes
something
sense.
has to be done now. Otherwise, before you know it,
Mhm.
you can't afford to buy food anymore. So nandun yung alert. Yung
Mhm.
motivate, vote for me for food security.
Yes.
If you vote for me, di ba, pag may Kiko, may Sharon, may take home ka pa. Senator
Oo.
Bam did the same thing. Uh, Libreng kolehiyo, sigurado trabaho. Education and livelihood. Gut issue.
Yes.
They strayed away from good governance.
Mhm.
Katapatan. I'm not saying that those messaging
Yes.
arcs are bad, and certainly I am not by any stretch of the imagination saying that those ideals are not to be aspired for. Absolutely not.
Yes. Mhm.
Pero sa electorate, kailangan nila yung, again, the Filipino term is so nuanced and nice. Kailangan nila
Oo.
malapit sa bituka. And I think
Oo.
Senator Bam and
I
Senator
agree.
Kiko did that. Thus, circling back, long circle back to your original question, that's how they were able to focus on the convince, the sways.
Oo.
Actually, yung kay Senator Kiko, ang ganda ng hirit niya for me, which defines, that one phrase for me defines these election results, and perhaps this election. Ang
Mhm.
gutom ay walang kulay. Walang kulay
Yes.
ang gutom. Doesn't matter what political leanings you have. If you're hungry, you're hungry.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
think tumatak sa tao yon. And I think they
Oo.
realize, oh nga, no, same with education, same with jobs. Whether I'm a Duterte fanatic, a Marcos loyalist, a Lenny fanatic, a pink, a green, a red, I need a job, and
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I need somebody that will provide free schooling. So I think that resonated very powerfully sa botante.
Do you think this trend towards the M, do you think that was reflected similarly in, I'm thinking of the US election kasi, because that was the most recent one before the May 2025 election. So in the US, there were President Trump won a not a landslide, but then a big victory
Landslide.
there.
Call it what it
Landslide.
is, man. Call it what it is. He
Oo.
kicked the butt of Kamala Harris, di ba? And absolutely that. And absolutely, you got it. You nailed it. Alam mo, I'm happy you brought that up, Iyo, because yeah, you nailed it.
Oo.
We also saw that in the US because what was Kamala Harris saying, di ba? She was talking about institutional reform. She was talking
Oo.
about equality, di ba?
Yeah.
Equality. She was talking about dignity of work.
Freedom.
Yan yung
Yung mga ganon.
freedoms,
Oo,
di
yeah.
ba? Democratic, strengthening democratic institutions. Ano yung sinabi ni
Oo.
I'm gonna fix the tax problem, di ba? I'm gonna give higher salaries. Di naman niya nagawa, pero
Oo.
yun yung promise niya, di ba?
In
The
fairness to
taxes.
him.
Oo, yun
Oo.
talaga yung ginawa niya. So, that's the messaging that's uso now. Pero
Oo.
cyclical yan. Iyo, cyclical yan. So, down the road, we're going to see this track back also to
Oo.
inspire messaging. Ganun lang talaga
Okay.
yan. That's the way it goes.
So if you're to make a prediction for the, I don't know, not man the next election, but for the next few elections, ano yung magiging next? Will it be A or I?
Tingin ko yung next, I mean, given the current landscape, baka it's already going to pivot slowly to the I.
Ooh,
Yeah, baka.
okay.
No,
Okay, I
given
like
this
the sound of
election,
that.
no, absolutely. Given these elections, kasi nga, nabuhayan yung tao. You have a Heidi Mendoza. How in the world can a
Aha.
Heidi Mendoza scare you into voting?
Oo.
Di ba? And
Yeah.
how in the world can you, di ba, can you run a credible campaign with 2.5 million pesos? But she promised
I
one thing.
know.
I'm going to rid corruption, which is an inspired message. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to I'm going to audit because that's what she is, di
Oo.
ba? The auditor. I'm going
Oo.
to guard your hard-earned money and make sure that your taxes are going to the right place. Uh,
Oo.
and she didn't win, but she got more votes than bigyan ng jacket yan. Gusto ko
Oo
mas
nga eh.
di
When
ba?
when you when you're mentioning you're tracking Willie, I was also tracking, and then I see the name on top. Wow, Heidi
Oo,
Mendoza with
Heidi,
a
Heidi.
2.5 million peso campaign
Yep.
budget.
Shoestring budget yan. Iyo, ano yan? We're talking about councilor. That's the budget of a
Oo.
councilor in a highly urbanized city. Baka kulang pa yun.
Oo nga eh. So, okay, if
Senador.
oo. So, since we're already in the topic of the Inspire 2028 with Heidi Mendoza, I want to ask you a question. So, if you were, or if the liberal opposition, the genuine liberal opposition, were to
Okay.
consult with you for 2028, what would you tell them? Who would you suggest to be on the ticket? I mean, if not give names, like at least how would you suggest they choose the leadership? What message should they employ? What campaign infrastructure should they maintain or
Sure, sure, sure.
scale or remove?
Well, you will not stray from the MICE model, di ba? MICE,
Uh,
MICE. Sorry, but this is really the practicality and pragmatism of running a campaign.
no,
You
go
really
ahead, Tito.
you really have to apply the MICE model. So who will you choose? Number one, somebody who can, or a ticket that can generate the M. What is the M? Money.
Oo.
Kasi kung kinuha mo mga idealists naman, mga really really pure upstanding and multi-awarded people and highly qualified, pero the backing won't come. Let's be practical. You're going to end up in tears.
Yeah.
So you have to form a ticket that can raise the M, money. The next is
Oo.
I, ideology. You have to have a ticket that shares your ideology. Hindi pwedeng may buo kang ticket, you're calling it the liberal opposition, you're calling it the pinks or the yellows, tapos meron ka dyan na convicted of plunder, meron ka dyan na kaso, meron ka dyan na ano. No, ideologically, kailangan tapat kayo, di ba?
Oo.
Uh, the C is, well, coercion. Unfortunately, that's the C. Coercion.
Okay.
You have to have somebody in that ticket that can form strategic alliances. Like
Okay.
Senator Bam did. Tinan mo yung ginawa ni Senator Bam. Ang galing niyang nakapag-form ng linkages and alliances with various LGUs. To the point where
Agree.
the pure yellows were already scratching their heads and saying, huh? Really? Senator Bam is aligning with that LGU leader or that mayor or that governor? Well, hey, number two in the Senate doesn't lie. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting. That
Yup,
works.
yup, yup.
You need
Mm-hmm.
somebody that can coerce and form linkages. And the last is ego. Hindi pwedeng may bibida-bida. If you're going to form a liberal party, genuine opposition ticket, hindi pwedeng Bam and the Bamets. Hindi pwedeng Kiko and the Kikoets. Di ba? Or Lenny and the Lennyettes. Di ba? Hindi pwedeng Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Oo.
Kailangan ego out the door.
Yup.
Ticket kayo, magsusuportahan kayo. Time to
Yup,
shine
yup,
for
yup.
everybody. Hindi pwedeng backup singers yung iba tapos may isang bibida-bida. Hindi pwedeng ganon. So some of the names that I would probably throw around in that ticket, I'm not saying maybe necessarily senatorial or I don't know which position. Ayaw naman
Okay.
natin paunahan, baka magalit pa sa akin mga liberals, di ba? Definitely Senator Bam and Senator Kiko are tip of that
Uh-huh.
spear, including
Mm-hmm.
Senator Risa, of course,
Uh-huh.
who is a stalwart in the Akbayan Party. She now has 3 allies in Congress because Akbayan
Yup,
won
yup.
the seats. So
Yup.
you're looking at that. You're looking at na Congressman-elect Chel Jokno. You're looking
Uh-huh.
at Congresswoman-elect Laila De Lima. If you want
Mm-hmm.
to deepen that pool, you
Yup.
could throw in people like Shelo Magno.
Mm-hmm.
You could throw in people like Attorney Barry
Ooh,
Gutierrez.
yes. Oo.
If you want that coercion bridge builder guy, heck, throw in Ronald Llamas just to make it, just to light the whole thing on fire, di ba? And
Ooh, interesting.
yan
Interesting.
mga pwede, di ba?
Is
Tapos
he your BFF?
Si Alan Herman leading that campaign charge, nako, deadly yan. Joke lang.
Wow, I'd love to see that. And ako, I will be active if you're gonna be heading everything. My gosh, ako na. I'm all yours.
So
Grabe.
these are the names I think the potential names that can come
Oo.
up. We don't know in terms of tactical alliances kasi meron din tayong tinatawag na M4GG, the Mayors for Good Governance,
Yes.
gaining steam right now. So a broad or even let's not call it a broad alliance. Let's demand more. Let's raise our standards. If they can
Yes.
form a stronger linkage with the M4GG, the Mayors for Good Governance, my
Yes.
goodness, more than 100 mayors, led by the likes of Mayor Vico Soto. The conveners are Mayor Vico Soto, Mayor Benji Magalong, and
Yes.
Mayor Joy Belmonte, who are all,
Yes.
by the way, on their last terms. So can
Oo.
you imagine, swerte ng generation mo, iyo, swerte
Oh my
kayo.
gosh.
Kung,
Exciting times. Exciting times.
kung yan ang mga tumindig, wow, that's something that the people will definitely rally about. I spoke earlier the other day about the simmering majority.
The simmering majority. Yep.
That's your
Post
next crusade.
2022.
Yeah,
Oo.
that's your next crusade, di ba? Kasi inspired ngayon yung kabataan eh. They're like, wow, we
Yep.
made a dent. We got our
Mm-hmm.
candidate in. Thank you, next din eh. Thank you, next. Sinong sunod?
Oo.
And if these are the kinds of people that are next in line, the mayors for good governance, yan, sina Attorney Chel, Laila De Lima, Shelo
Mm-hmm.
Magno, Attorney Barry, the
Oo.
future looks bright.
Yep. Ayos. So, I think you'd be a great political strategist given your very extensive
We try.
response.
We try.
And I can see the history of experience in your career there.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned ideology a while ago. Part of the
Yep.
MICE model. If you're gonna choose people in your ticket, you have to align with the same message, same values, same. But I guess just have a decent relationship with the
Well,
other, diba?
values, I think, is the best word here. You're right. Values yan.
Values.
Values.
So I wanna get to, I guess, the broader political context now, because frankly enough, our politics is dominated, or national politics at least right now is dominated by two major families, And these two major families, the Marcoses and the Dutertes, they came
Correct.
together in 2022 as a, I'd like to believe, as a tactical alliance to win
You're
for
being so
office.
kind. Wow, you're being so kind to call it a tactical alliance.
And mukhang they forgot about the I. Mukhang they forgot about so many things.
I think, in fact, like I said, you're being kind, no? Calling that a tactical alliance, you're being such a kind guy. You're a pure soul. The better term for that is really transactional. That was a transactional alliance from the start. You scratch my back,
Mhm.
I'll scratch yours. Afterwards, let's walk in different directions. And tignan niyo nga nangyari. When you're not rooted in that ideology, ganyan talaga mangyayari. Ganyan talaga
Oo.
mangyayari.
Okay. So, like when we're dealing with that conflict, we saw a lot of this conflict, progress from 2022 to 2025. There's a lot of chismis na early in the during the
Yeah.
2022 election pa, but now it's just blown up.
Yep.
And then you had the election just recently in May. To what extent was this 2025 election an inflection point for this conflict? Or I guess in general, just the broader political landscape. Like, where does the Marcos Duterte conflict go after this election, and maybe through an impeachment in the question?
Siguro let's the best way to unbox that question would be to just really take it as winners and losers.
Okay.
I think the main loser in this 2025 election is really the admin.
Okay.
After the midterm elections, regardless of how your candidates fare, the
Mm-hmm.
natural normal tendency for a sitting incumbency government
Oh.
is really to become what you call a lame duck
Mm-hmm.
administration. Kasi
Oh.
politicians being politicians, they're already looking at the next election and already jostling for position um, to try to get themselves perpetuated in office and in power. So
Okay.
that's a natural tendency kasi may term limit tayo. Alam mong 3
Oh.
years na lang yan nakaupo, umaanggulo
Oh.
ka na. 'Di ba?
Oh.
Umaanggulo ka na, parang traffic lang yan eh. Alam mo na
Yep.
the road closes, you're trying to shift already. So
Mm-hmm.
the big loser here is really the admin because apart from that, my goodness, how sad. The last time we saw this was Gloria Macapagal Arroyo when
Mm-hmm.
midterm she only had 2 candidates who made it.
Yes.
This
The team
election, if you're
unity.
going, yeah, team unity. This election, if you're really gonna be strict about it, ilang mo pinanalo ng alyansa? If you're really gonna be strict, ha?
Oh. So there's a
Baka,
Tulfo.
is he really an
Is
alyansa?
he really alive? Parang he won more
That's a
because he was a
sticker
Tulfo
label.
eh.
That's a sticker label. That's a
Oo.
sticker label, di ba? The guy is a fully formed, fully developed political and public persona. Hindi naman
Yes,
yan
agree.
necessarily masasabi mong Marcos in the same way as masasabi mong si Bongo, si Bato at si Marcoleta Duterte.
Duterte.
Yon
Yep,
talaga
yep, yep.
creatures of
I see
Duterte
that. Yep.
yon, di ba?
Yep, yep.
Born,
Makes
crafted,
sense.
and built by Duterte. But
Oh.
Tulfo, hindi yan alyansa. Pia
Mm-hmm.
Cayetano, my goodness, Cayetano yan. Di
Oo.
ba? Lito Lapid, holy cow, has been around since, si Lito Lapid yata
Lito
pumirma.
Lapid is just Lito Lapid.
Oh, kaya tayong pumirma ng building permit ng pyramids, di ba? Ganon katanda na si Lito Lapid. 10 years ago. Di ba?
Parang si Enrile din yun eh.
Exactly. So, again, you have to think, sa alyansa, ilan ba talaga nanalo? But if you're being kind, 5. Sabihin mo ng
Mm-hmm.
5. If you're being kind.
Yep.
You can't even, I mean, I'm even counting Camille Villar in that, in that equation. Di ba?
Oo.
Dapat mambilangin si Camille. When in fact, during midterms, the normal victory rate for an incumbency is 8 to 10. Ito 5.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Tapos none of them are really born and bred alyansa. And then
Oo.
immediately after, they made some really bad tactical missteps. I think BBM had that odd interview with Anthony Taberna where he's suddenly saying, I'm not opposed to making peace with the Dutertes.
Duterte.
I
Oo.
want to make peace with them. And then, kino-opt niya yung linya ni VP Lenny sa gobyernong tapat.
Tapat.
Kasama
Kasama ang lahat.
kino-opt niya. So, a position of weakness.
Oo.
I don't know why they did that, no? From a comms perspective. And then he had this cabinet revamp na
Oo.
saklap because lumalabas ngayon sa news, nobody wants to take the positions.
Oo.
PCO na lang, PCOO, Philippine Communications Office, si J. Ruiz. Hindi nila mapalitan. In-offer na kung kani-kanino. Anthony Taberna publicly said no, di ba? Nagno-no sila lahat. So, it's not a
Oo.
good look. So, I think they were the biggest losers. Biggest winners for me, definitely the Dutertes. Definitely the Dutertes. I think Sara's impeachment is if I was a betting man, ayoko naman makipagpustahan. This might haunt me. This might age like milk. But I would think that her acquittal is almost a certainty, considering the makeup of the Senate. I think she
Okay.
was able to flex her muscle to
Yeah.
get guys like Marcoleta in. My goodness. And to have uh, candidates like Jimmy Bondoc, Philip Salvador finish
Oo.
credibly. Iba yon.
Yeah.
Nagpakita ka ng, you call that political muscle flexing. Nag-muscle flex ang Dutertes. And definitely the
Oo.
tide is in their favor.
Yes.
Uh, so that's the big winner. Ang mga net neutrals, what are the big stories is the emerging yellow, pink, genuine opposition as you phrased it. I think that's an emerging story. And I think the another big story on the net neutral side is really madali rin magsawa ang Pilipino.
Oo.
Nakakasawa. They apparently, for me, the writing is clear. The writing is on the wall. Pinoys have had enough of this fight, endless,
Oo.
cyclical fight between the Marcoses and the Dutertes. And I think they just hunkered down and said, enough of this. Um, Run the government, for crying out loud. Find solutions for hunger,
Oo.
unemployment, education. Tama na to. Everyday na lang. Wala na kayong ginawa kundi mag-upakan. Uh,
Oo.
but, another point you made is,
Oo.
how do I foresee this playing out, itong rivalry na to? From all indications,
Oo.
uh, full steam ahead. Suddenly, they've recruited Congressman-elect Chell and Congresswoman-elect Laila to the prosecution panel. They're going all out. Hinuli si Arnie Teves today, kicking and screaming, di ba? Known Duterte ally Arnie Teves hinuli.
Oo.
They're turning the screws and on Harry Roque. Uh, so let's see what will happen in this upcoming impeachment. Exciting yan. What a time to be alive.
Oo nga eh. I don't know if you wanna answer this next question, but then I wanna get your view on sino yung mag-a-acquit. Sino yung mga sure, syempre may mga sure acquittals, 'di ba? You have
On my list lang.
Oo.
On my list, sino sa tingin ko mag-a-acquit, just so that I'm being accurate.
Oo.
Just so that I'm being accurate to what I think or what I think it will look like.
Oo.
I believe it will be to acquit. I
Okay.
think that Alan Peter Cayetano,
Ooh, okay. I mean,
Pia
he's been very
Cayetano,
vocal. Okay.
Bato de la Rosa,
Oh, of course.
Bongo,
Bongo, of course.
Dante Marcoleta,
Of course, of course.
Jaime Marcos,
Mhm.
Robin Padilla,
Okay.
Camille Villar,
Okay.
and Mark Villar. That's 9.
Yun. So, yun.
Acquit yan, ha? Acquit.
Oo.
And don't forget, if you abstain, that's counted as acquit.
Oo. I see.
So
I
there might
see.
be some senators who will say, I don't want any of that, man. I want to be Switzerland. I want to play, but I'm gonna abstain.
Belgium.
Yeah, I want to be Belgium. So yan yung ang problema pag nag-abstain ka, that's counted as an acquit vote.
Oo. And
Keeping it in mind.
oo. Parang that's medyo risky siya for, let's say, and I'm not gonna mention any specifics, but then let's just say it's for the stays.
Yep.
It's gonna be kind of tricky of a
Very,
situation.
very, very tricky.
Oo.
Very tricky. Yes.
Okay.
Kasi at the same time, you're forging alliances. You're trying
Yeah.
to be more pragmatic about your politics, and then you're given such an ideological crossroads.
Oo.
ah, na talagang yes or no lang yan eh. Kasi pag
Oo.
gumitna ka, maybe ka, the purists are going to smash you. Di
Oo.
ba? Pag pag nag-vote to acquit ka naman, sasabihin nila, ano ka, sasabihin ng mga forged alliances mo, traitor ka. May usapan tayo eh. So, tricky yan. That's why you and I are not politicians, Iyo.
Yeah, I'm not interested getting into that anytime soon.
But hey, man, uh, I think, well, don't close the door on that, dude. Don't close the door on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right, maybe for the this year, parang no, maybe even 2028, like, well, I'm gonna stick to business.
Yep, that's a smart play, young man.
Or help my titos Bam Aquino and Alan Herman as the political strategist
The one,
intern.
that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. Eyes on the ground,
Oh,
ears on the ground, di ba? For
oh,
SBA, at least keep him grounded.
yep. All right, so I think that's it with the national politics talk. I think that got a bit tricky
National mo
over
lang yan.
there. Oo nga eh. I wanna ask you about local races.
Okay.
So, I guess, what are some key trends you noticed coming out of the 2025 election when it comes to local races? Or at least those
I'm
you're familiar with?
super happy you asked that because that's all good news for me. I have
Mm.
been quoted in many times in the past saying that I wish that the local sensibility for voters will bleed into the national sensibility. Kasi sa
Mm.
local, ito yung trend sa local. Voters are
Oo.
looking for solutions, not distractions. Sa local, kung kumanta-kanta ka lang, sumayaw-sayaw ka lang, nilabas mo lang yung mga komedyante, you will no longer win.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to have concrete solutions that will
That's
address
great.
neighborhood community problems.
Oo.
That's what
Yep.
they're looking for. They're looking for problem solvers. Not a person who promises. Old style na yon. That
Mm-hmm.
we left that in the 20s, 2000s and 2010s. Ngayon ang
Oo.
hinahanap nila hindi na yung glib, glitzy, promising politician. I'm talking about highly urbanized cities and syempre sa mga far off provinces ganyan pa rin unfortunately.
Oo.
But
Okay.
for highly urbanized cities and first to second class municipalities, ganito na yung trend. People are now connecting with their problems.
Oo.
Baku-baku yung daan ko. Yung poso hindi gumagana, wala pa rin kaming kuryente. Bakit tuwing umuulan nagbabaha? So they're looking for problem solvers. That's the trend. Uh,
Okay.
so what is the trend in local? Be a problem solver. That's how you'll win. Show that you
Mm.
have a track record of solving problems and remind people,
That's good.
beat on that message. Single nail.
Mm.
Keep on pounding at that nail. I've solved these problems.
Yes.
You will win.
Hey there, thanks for listening to the Hey Eiyo podcast. If you're enjoying, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your other favorite podcast apps. And follow me, Iyo Aquino, EIYOAQUYNO on TikTok.
That's great. Honestly, I think that's a good thing, and I think what differentiates that from the traditional politician that uses the M, I
Yep.
remember the AIM
Right.
framework, is the fact the may track record na,
May track
may
record.
history already
I mean,
of
siguro the best
performance.
example for that and one that I'm most definitely familiar with is really, I have two actually. One is Mayor
Mm.
Belen Fernandez of Dagupan, and the
Okay.
other one is Mayor Joy Belmonte of Quezon City. If
Okay.
you look at Mayor Joy, my goodness, she's sharp as a whip. She's
Mm-hmm.
super well spoken,
Yep.
super articulate, perfect bilingual. Pero hindi yan
Mm.
trapo by any stretch of the imagination. Mayor
Uh-huh.
Joy will not do the artista tour. She won't sing
Mm.
on stage.
Yep.
Oops. Wag sana mapanood to ni Mayor Joy. Mayor Joy, hello. But my goodness, imagine what Mayor Joy singing would possibly sound like. Joke lang, Mayor. Joke lang.
Grabe.
Imagine what Mayor Joy singing on stage would sound like, di ba? Pero hindi yan sasaya, hindi yan kakanta. Um,
Basta good
hindi siya,
governance. Good
hindi siya
governance.
trapo in that sense of the word that she's kissing babies,
Yeah.
throwing away t-shirts. Hindi yan si
Oo.
Mayor Joy. Pero tingnan
Okay.
mo, most number of votes ever in a Quezon City election.
Did she
Because
reach 7 digits already?
naka 1 million plus siya.
Grabe, man!
1 million
Hanep!
vote, 1 million
Hanep!
plus. So come on, how can you beat that?
Respect.
And
Galing.
what is she? She's a problem solver. Kasi nakita
Mm.
ng tao, and yung pinalitan niya was Herbert Bautista, who was, artista, ano naman, I'm not talking on former Mayor Herbert Bautista, but he was that guy. And here
Okay.
comes Mayor Joy, and all she did was fold her sleeves and get down to work. And she solved the
Yep.
problems. The Q citizens saw this, and definitely they responded in kind. Same with Mayor Belen. My goodness, if you see Mayor Belen of Dagupan,
Okay.
yan ang talagang hindi sumasayaw, hindi kumakanta, wala, zero, none of that. Kasi si Mayor Vico, kahit papaano, umiikot pa yan, nagbabasketball, di ba? May,
Oh, yeah.
may showbiz,
Three
ano pa
points
si,
pa siya.
may showbiz persona pa si Mayor Vico, kahit papaano, may pedigree. Itong si Mayor Belen, talagang
Tama.
wala.
Oo.
She is a technocrat. She is not good on the mic. She doesn't enthrall people with her prose. Hindi
Mm.
siya a big talker. But man, she's a problem solver and a doer. Won by landslide, overwhelming in
Wow.
Dagupan. So yan ang nagiging trend ngayon sa LGUs.
I love that. I
Aren't
love
you
to hear
happy that
that.
you vote in Pasig? Aren't you
Oh,
happy?
yes. It was a very easy choice.
Easy choice, 'di ba? At yan I'm not, of course, hindi naman tayo pwede, I won't risk you or I getting sued for libel, 'di ba? But the talk was really rife that the opponent of
Mhm.
Mayor Vico was really spending an almost comical amount of money. Talagang
Mm.
ano na siya, cartoonish na yung bigayan sa Pasig. Pero at the end of the day, siguro yung mga botante iniisip, okay, if I'll take this money, thank you very much. If there was giving money, I'm not saying that there was
Oh.
categorically.
Mhm.
But siguro kinuha nila and they probably thought, yeah, but who's gonna solve my problems?
Mm.
Who's the guy that fixed the road? Who's the guy that didn't raise taxes pero dumali yung business permit? Who's the guy that didn't raise taxes pero hindi na nagbabaha dito sa Pasig Baba? And they made the choice. It's Vico Soto.
I have a medyo philosophical, ethical question. Sorry,
Wow,
medyo
wow, wow.
random lang. Naisip ko lang ngayon. Pero, let's
Philosophical,
say,
ethical
oh,
question.
so let's say, mabibigyan ka ng pera, vote
Okay?
buying.
Right.
Let's think of a hypothetical situation.
Yes.
Mabibigyan ka, and then, let's say you're given money by candidate A. You
Okay?
vote for and then you vote for good governance candidate B, even if
Right.
you accept the money.
Right.
Some will argue, syempre, unethical, don't even accept the money, diba? Don't go against your principles, don't condone the behavior. But
Of course.
if you accept the money, that's let's say 1,000 pesos less for them and one less vote pa. So parang if anything, you're showing, I mean, by doing that act, you can also be showing na what you're doing isn't right. I'm gonna punish you for it by taking your money, by lessening your bank account, and by lessening your votes as well. Ano yung take mo dyan? Do you think it's medyo acceptable to accept that money? I mean,
I
technically
love
it's not allowed, diba? By
No,
the
no, I
COMELEC.
love the way, and of all, I love the way you contextualize that question. I love the way you really led into that question. But I love most that you used one word in particular. You used the
Mm.
word punish.
Mm.
Punish, because remember, for evil to reign, all it takes is for good men to do nothing.
Mm.
Pag hindi mo tinanggap 'yan at you just went on your merry way and you said, "No, I will vote for ideology." Good for you. But did you punish that person for even trying? Did you deter that person? I think the
Mm.
deterrent here is the main point. You
Oo.
have to deter these people from doing it in the future, 'di ba?
Yep. Mhm.
Not punitive, 'di ba? It's rehabilitative. Rehabilitate
Oo.
the behavior. Show them that vote buying doesn't work. And what
Oo.
is that? And what is the best way to do that? That's the word you use. Punish them. Nawalan na sila ng pera, natalo pa sila.
Oo, tama.
Parusahan mo yung mga gumagawa niyan. 'Di ba?
Oo.
Parusahan mo.
And
Yan yung biggest ano diyan, yan yung biggest actionable thing to do. Show them that these antics do not work and
mhm.
punish them so that they don't do it again. Take their money and don't
Oo.
vote for them.
Parang and you're not hurting them physically, right? It's not it's rehabilitative.
It's rehabilitating almost the system, 'di ba?
Oo.
Kasi the next time magdadalawang isip na yung mga politiko who just think that alam mo magkakalat na lang ako ng pera sa D-Day, 'di ba?
Oo.
Sa last mile magsha-shopping na lang ako, 'di ba? Maglalabas ako ng pera. And then they think pero hindi eh. Last election si candidate X nagpasabog ng pera. Ano nangyari sa kanya?
Oo.
Na-bankrupt tapos natalo pa. Maybe I shouldn't
Oo.
go that way. So punish these people. Make it a deterrent.
That's good. That's
In fact,
interesting logic.
the plain act of offering you money is already enough reason for you not to vote them.
Oo naman. Oo naman.
Pag inalo ka ng pera, wag mo ng boto. Pero kunin mo yung pera
Oo.
para matuto. Matuto ng leksyon.
Mm.
Paluin mo. Kailangan paluin yung kandidato na yan.
Oo.
The voters need to spank.
Oo. You and you're right. It's a red flag even just by virtue of giving, by virtue of just spending a lot in general. Parang you people should realize eventually. Parang wait a minute, why are you spending 2-3 billion pesos on this campaign? You're not even making 1 million pesos a month as a senator.
Exactly. Come on, nobody's that magnanimous. Uh, so that's what it is, di ba? And I think that the trend shows that voters are being more conscious of this.
Yeah.
Na yung mga big spenders, not necessarily nananalo. And I don't want to go into specifics, but there are a lot of names that you thought were shoe-ins in various places in the
Mhm.
Philippines na alam mong bumuhos ng pera pero talo.
Talo. Oo. Oh, I'm glad to see the tide change. It's gonna be an interesting next few years, I think, and a lot of campaign strategists like yourself will be very much in demand these
We'll see,
next
man.
few
We'll see.
years. Oo.
Slowing down na rin tayo, iyo, di ba? I mean, you take enough, you go through enough wars and you crawl through enough foxholes. It's tiring, brother. I mean, it's people romanticize my job. A lot of people think, oh, he's Olivia Pope, or oh, he's House of Cards. Oh, he's that
Oo.
guy. But it's really not as romantic as a lot of people portray it to be. It has its perks. It gets exciting. There's a lot of math involved. There's a lot of numbers involved. It's
Oo.
really a lot of ministerial, boring numbers because at the end of the day, elections is just really calculus. Get more votes than the
Tama.
next guy. Diba? Yun lang yun.
Yeah.
Get more
True.
votes than the next guy. Numbers
Yup,
get
yup, yup.
yeah.
Ganun talaga.
So people who think that we're whining and dining these politicians and flying off to remote locations in our dapper suits, hindi po. A lot of times we are in our grimy shirts and t-shirts. We're meeting with community leaders. We are trying to
Yep.
build alliances with sectors. We're
Mhm.
trying to negotiate
Agree.
deals
Oo.
fundraising and whatnot. It's a lot of tread in these tires, man.
Yeah. So you gave me a bit of medyo like you gave me a bit of a scope of like what you do in as a political strategist and working for leading Agents International.
Right.
I want to ask now about that, like your career, your company. Is Agents International purely political, or are there other clients you guys serve?
We're very, very we're well known. We're better known for our political work because that's what gets
Mm-hmm.
more press. But
Okay.
the
Yes.
funniest thing, Iyo, and I'll tell you this, this will blow many people's minds.
Go, go, go.
Your parents will probably be shocked at me saying this, but
Oh.
our agency actually mindfully. mindfully and intentionally runs away from publicity. We do not have a
Ooh.
website.
Mm.
Do not have a social media presence. We
Uh-huh.
we
I
don't join
noticed.
any trade shows. I don't even have
Mm.
a calling card.
Oh, wow, really?
I don't even have a card. I don't.
Wow,
Bakit? Kasi
interesting.
di ba there's a saying, never trust a skinny chef dahil hindi masarap magluto yan.
Uh-uh.
Never trust a poor lawyer dahil walang pinapanalo.
Mm-hmm.
And never trust a PR guy that talks too much about themselves. Kasi
Mm.
pag alam mo may PR, it loses its gravity. It loses its bite. If you know na there's
Interesting.
a PR person behind it. So we are absolutely in the shadows. We call this the Podesta pull. In fact, that's a term,
Okay.
no? Podesta pull. It's named after John Podesta. So
Okay.
for the people, for the 47,000 viewers of this episode, uh, you Google and you
Dream
research
big.
who John Podesta is, no? Siya yung nagsabi ng Podesta pull. It's like gravity.
Okay.
You can't see it, but it's felt. Dapat ganun ang
Uh-huh.
PRC.
Uh-huh.
So now that was such a long-winded answer to your question, but to hit it directly, yes, we do have corporate clients. In fact, in a non-election year, our splits are usually 60-40. 60% of our
It's not
clients are
corporate.
corporate.
Ah,
We have
okay.
some top, I would even say top 50 corporations in our roster of clients.
Wow. Okay.
Number of multinationals, some leading brands. Election year, nagpapalit yung ratio, nagiging
Uh-huh.
60% politics, pero may 40% corporate pa rin kami. So we actually
Mm.
do PR, messaging, reputation management, crisis control. I hate the word crisis management. I don't believe in that. That is the biggest lie ever told to, well, no such thing as crisis management. It's crisis control. You control
Oo.
a crisis, you don't manage it. So
Oo.
crisis control, and integrated marketing and communications, that's what we do.
I'm actually interested in the crisis aspect. Like, I mean, without naming any names, of course, I'm sure you have NDAs, but ano yung mga notable case studies with regards to crisis and how you controlled, I wouldn't say manage.
Right. Yeah, don't say crisis management because if managing a crisis, the crisis is managing you. You know, you have to think of
Oo.
crisis like a fire. If
Mm.
your house is burning and then you come home and then you ask the fireman, what's going on here? Don't worry, sir, we are managing the fire. No, I don't want you to manage the fire, man. You gotta put that out. Tayo mo yung sunog kasi
Oo. Oo
manage mo yung
naman.
apoy, nandiyan pa rin yan, pasunog-sunog, before you know it, ubos na yung bahay mo. So, you manage a crisis. I don't believe in that.
Yep.
Our
Totally.
agency employs a methodology called HTO, how to overcome. So that involves the full line of communications, may legal, may technical, may ano. I have some
Okay.
really, really good stories to say. I can't mention any brands, obviously, but I have
Oo.
some really good stories to say about that. You know, syempre, ang number one ano namin dyan is mga rallyista. Diba? Yung
Okay.
mga kliyente, nirarally, nagkakaroon ng protesta sa mga planta. So, I mean, I've had,
Ah.
we take a lateral thinking approach to it. We've had exciting stories like dropping bags of bees and hornets
Oh
from
my
a
gosh.
helicopter, mga ganyan. Uh, Number one time where we had a client, napupuntahan na siya ng OB van ng mga major networks. But
Oo.
there was only one access road to their factory.
Mm.
So
Okay.
what we did is we staged the wake. Gumawa kami
Oh
ng
my
ano,
gosh.
tarpaulin. We made a fake man. Uh,
Oh my
we
gosh.
had a we
That's
had a fake
hilarious.
we made a fake old man, tapos may paong, may ano doon, may coffin, tapos may mga
Grabe.
mga
Ang
mourner.
effort.
So naharang yung access road. But I mean, you have to think, kung magkano yung ginastos mo doon, how much would your company uh, how much would your company lose otherwise, 'di ba? Kung
Mm.
napizza ka, na ano ka. But you know, these are some of the more colorful ones, but generally we just follow the protocol of releasing a statement, training a spokesperson, go no go areas, and then
Oo.
putting out counter PR to manage the narrative and control it.
Okay. Wow, it's a very, very intense line of work, I'd say.
It's colorful. It's colorful.
Very colorful.
Very
Pero
colorful.
I wanna ask, like, with your with like leadership in the company and all that. You guys are how many in the company? Like, how many employees do you guys have?
We're about give and take if you're counting peripherals, yung mga
Uh huh.
consultants, mga ganyan, we're about under 30 people. We're about 24 people.
Ooh, okay. So it's a pretty tight firm. How is it like managing
Special
everyone? I mean,
operations, baby. Special operations.
oh,
Di ba? Okay. I don't want to wax poetic here or get all sappy, but ang tawag namin sa team namin, the Spartans.
ooh,
Spartans. Tapos
very
tawag nila
poetic.
sa akin, ako si Leonidas, di ba? Kasi
Oh,
you go back to that historic and epic battle of Thermopylae, di ba?
mm,
Ilan yung kalaban nila? Ilan yung forces ni Xerxes? My God. Thousands upon thousands, di ba? With the elephants and ilan lang yung Spartans guarding that
oh,
300. Kaya nga, di ba,
300. Oh,
the 300, di ba?
mm,
300 Spartans. So it's really not about size, it's not about scale.
yes.
It's really who embodies that Spartan mindset. How is it managing for me, my team, in
Oh,
agents? I love it because they have imbibed the Spartan mindset. They are
wow.
obsessive Spartans. My team, and I'm happy and proud to say that, they're obsessed about being agent Spartans. I don't know if people will
Galing,
remember.
ah.
I don't think you'll remember this movie many, many years ago, A Few Good Men, with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson and Demi Moore. You probably don't
Oo.
remember that, Eo, but you should catch it.
It's on my watch list.
Oh, make it so. Your parents know and love this movie.
Oo.
All our generation did. But there's a line there, tinanong ni Tom Cruise si Demi Moore, so what are these guys like? Talking about the Marines in
Mm.
Guantanamo Bay.
Oo.
These Marines, they're obsessed. Tapos sabi ni Tom Cruise, what are they obsessed about? At sabi ni Demi Moore, they're obsessed about being Marines. Ganon yung team
Mm.
ko. They're obsessed about being Agent Spartans. And I couldn't be prouder. I love it because
That's
we share the
nice.
same mindset. We know that it's not about size, it's not about scale. Uh, it's a matter of working smarter, outthinking the opponents, and this excites us.
Mm.
We love, we hate losing more than we love winning. Yun yung mindset na gusto
Mm.
ko eh. Yun
Yeah.
yung mindset na gusto ko sa team ko. We hate
Oo.
losing more than we love winning. Yung winning dapat expected na yan eh.
Oo. Oo.
But hating to lose, that's
Yup.
something. And the thing, I don't want to, again, I said I don't want to be sappy about my team, but I love it that for the team it's not about the scoreboard. 'Di ba? Sabi
Mm.
nga nila, winners forget that they're in a race. They just
Yeah.
love to run.
Oo.
And I think I can say the same thing about my team. They love what they do. They love what we do. And they forget about the scoreboard. And
Mhm.
loving it and loving what they do usually ends up in a winning tally. So I'm happy.
Oo.
Shout out Agent Spartans. Hua.
Wow. I hope they listen to this. Grabe, they're probably gonna get so kilig after hearing all of this.
Obsessed about being Agent Spartans, yeah.
Oo,
Alam mo,
galing.
alam mo yung pinaka-solid. Alam mo yung pinaka-solid dyan, Iyo. What is the
Oh,
big testament to being an Agent Spartan?
go, Tito.
Your Tita Doris is a tireless worker. And day in, day out, she's in agents. Guess what?
Oh, that's nice.
Walang sweldo.
Oh, really?
Not a
All
cent.
for
She
love.
just loves it. Yeah, she just loves it. She loves it.
Oh,
That
that's
is
nice.
a testament to being an agent Spartan. Di ba?
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
loving being in the game, loving the mix, loving the fight, loving the battle.
Yeah, I remember nga we were having dinner the other night. Tapos we were making chismis. We were bringing up names, and then Tita Doris was on the telling you to keep quiet.
Exactly, exactly that.
She's part of the team. She's part of the team.
Yeah. She clips my wings when I fly too close to the sun.
That's a good metaphor, Tito. That's a good
Yep,
metaphor.
yep.
So, One last question. I know it's already pretty late. It's already 9:30. But if you were to give advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, business leaders, what would you tell them?
Aspiring entrepreneurs and business leaders specifically.
Oh, siguro in general, like just like aspiring or current leaders in business.
Okay, don't it's such a cliche, but really don't be change averse. Embrace
Okay.
emerging technologies, embrace
Okay.
emerging processes. Don't be dismissive and just say, "I, uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the way we did it in our time. This is
Mm-hmm.
what I used to do works. What I have always done works. So I'm going to reject it outright. Masama yan, or that's too complicated for me to learn. Embrace emerging technologies. It's such a cliche, but really the idea is to get out of your comfort zone. It's really
Mm.
that, get out of your comfort zone. And maybe my second piece of advice is this: you are exactly the same person you will be 5 years from now, and you are exactly the same person you were 5 years ago, except for two things: the books you read and the people you meet. So
Oh.
value that. Value the stuff that you put in your head. Value the people that you surround yourself in your orbit. Because 5 years from now, yun lang yung magiging difference between who you are now and 5 years from now. Ano yung mga binasa mo, ano
Mm-hmm.
yung pinasok mo sa utak mo, at sino yung mga nasa orbit mo, sino yung nasa paligid.
Oh.
If in the next 5 years I decide to surround myself with party boys and YOLO YOLO, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Puro ganyan na lang
Yeah.
yung kasama ko.
Yep.
What will happen to me? And then wala akong ginawa kundi flip through my phone, titingin ako ng mga memes, titingin lang ako ng mga latest scandals and that's who I will be 5 years from now. I'm
Yep.
not saying that I'm not being judgy, I'm not being preachy, I'm not saying that I'm coming from an ivory tower, but it's really that. It's what you put in your head, i.e. what you read, and
Mm-hmm.
who you surround yourself with. That's what makes difference. It's orbit, orbit, orbit. Surround yourself with good, decent, um, God-fearing people, and believe it
Mm-hmm.
or not, slowly but surely, you will be that too. Diba? Magbasa ka
Thank
ng
you.
leadership books, magbasa ka ng books on values, um,
Oh.
you will be that, diba? So it's really that.
That really spoke to me also, Tito, since
About to go
I'm
to
on
a
that
faraway
path.
place. Yeah, you're about to go to a faraway place, diba, Iyo?
Oh, yes.
Orbit, orbit. Bantayan mo yung orbit mo. Guard that. Guard your diba? It's a hedge.
Oh.
Guard who you're around. Guard who's inside your hedge. Kasi pag nagpapasok ka dyan ng, chickens, cows, diba? Productive
Oh.
farm animals, then you will live, you will prosper.
Yep.
But if inside your hedge, you put in the snake, the locust, you
Oh.
put in the peste yan, diba? Mauubusan ka ng, kakainin ka niyan from the inside. So, that's what it is.
Thank you for that advice, Tito. That's also that's gonna be something I'll keep in mind. I'm gonna listen to this podcast on repeat.
Right. The dami viewers.
If I need a motivation, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'll go
Iba-ibahin
to
mo
the
yung
last few minutes of Alan
VP,
Herman's podcast.
mag-VPN ka na mag-VPN para para yung views.
Oh nga. Oh my gosh. Pero
Hey
thank
Iyo!
you.
Hey
Yes.
Iyo! I've had a great time talking to you, man.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I know you're a really busy guy. Thank you for making time. Super thank you.
Absolutely. Anything for you and your fam, brother. Your family to me.
Thank you, Tito. Take
Take care.
care.
Take care. Thank you to all our listeners.
Thank you very much, guys. Ingat. Ingat
Bye.
kayo.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Tito.
Hey there, thanks for listening to the Hey Eiyo podcast. If you enjoyed, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your other favorite podcast apps. And follow me, Aquino, EIYOAQUYNO on TikTok.